All right, we are live. I went ahead and sent Ranty the link to get into this hangout. So we are going to be waiting. I decided to go live a little bit early to let you guys know that I am here, and so we shall wait. So yeah, we will be waiting. Let's see. All my memories gather around her, modest lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye, country roads. Take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountains, mama. Take me home, country roads. All right, let me go ahead and set this shit up. All right. Just so that people are aware, I did not watch any of Ranty's videos because I basically wanted to come at this from a fresh perspective on the guy. So I have not watched any of his videos. Believe me, I was resisting the urge to. But yeah. Uh, is your time worth nothing to you? This is what happens when you have no life and you're in the process of moving. So yes. Okay. So let's see. I actually tried, Sean, to find a mic that wasn't absolute garbage. And then I gave up and was like, go fuck yourself. You'll just have to deal with it. I don't know why you didn't get the notification. YouTube's been a little shit as of late. Electrolysis. Okay, that's cool, I guess. Yeah, believe me, there's a lot of things I could be doing that are a lot better. Like for example, I could be fixing this fucking computer that I just built. Oh, it turns on, and then half a second later, turns off. Fuck. So yeah, go figure. Could be doing that, but instead, I'm arguing with people on the internet. As soon as I hear that someone's wrong on the internet, I'm like, dear God, quick to the idiot mobile. All right, so try not to orgasm this time, Red. RSC, no promises. I tried it with just literally the CPU and the motherboard and nothing else, and it still doesn't fucking go uh into post. It won't even post anymore, or ever did. But it's okay. I'm not worrying about it right now. I have a supposed computer expert who's going to come to my side of the shithole and try to figure this shit out for me. By the way, when I do eventually repost this on the Redshift channel, I'm going to cut all this shit out so that we can get right to the debate. But as of right now, it is 10:59, so he should be here any moment, I assume. I just re-uploaded the other hangout on the Redshift channel, the one that we had yesterday. I'm sorry, but there was two separate hangouts, and I had to make them into one video. That took like 6.5 hours of rendering, and I was asleep at that time, so I didn't upload it till this morning. 6.5 hours to render that shit, and you motherfuckers aren't grateful. You motherfuckers aren't grateful. 6.5 hours of rendering that shit. You motherfuckers should thank me. Thank you, Red, for all you do for us so that you can post these fucking, nausea-inducing videos on the Redshift channel. 6.5 fucking hours of rendering for you motherfuckers. I'm not even sure I even like you. Fuck. Ugh. Oh, I don't know where that hangout went, Mike Duffy. I really don't know. I can't find it anywhere on my channel. I can only assume that Hana deleted it. Oh, hello, Ranty.
Hiya, you alright? Hang on, let me
How's
just sort some things out. Yeah, I'll turn that off a bit.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, ready.
Okay. Oh yeah. Quick announcement. Hal Soy, I know you're in the chat right now. You can go fuck yourself. Do you want to know why? Because the International Space Station just retweeted my tweet. Fuck you. Yeah, I'm getting up there in the show ranks right now, Hal Soy. No thanks to you, dick.
There's so much drama going on at the minute, isn't there?
It's okay. I'm just trolling Hal Soy because, yeah. So, fuck off, Hal Soy. The International Space Station retweeted my tweet. Fuck you, ass. Anyway, so, all right, we're gonna start now. Hello, Ranty. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. I've got about an hour and a half, so I don't think it'll last that long because I just don't think it will. But there you go. We'll see where we end up.
Okay, sounds good. So, if I can go ahead and start this off, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. I always ask this of every flat earther I meet, and we usually start there. That usually gets the ball rolling. So nothing, evil about asking this question. But
Okay.
what is your best evidence? Like, if I was just some dude you met on the street, and you told me that the Earth was flat, like let's say you said in passing, and I asked you, well, why do you think the Earth is flat? What is the best piece of evidence that you could possibly give me?
Well, I don't really rely on anybody else's evidence. I only rely on my own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when I tend to watch things on the internet or read about stuff, I tend not to. It goes in, I enjoy it for a bit, and then I just kind of like, yeah, okay, move on to what I can actually prove myself. So, in answer to your question, it's basically what I've been able to prove to myself visually.
Okay. And so to answer that previous question, what would you show me? Like, let's say we had your entire computer set up right in front of us, again, just going with this hypothetical, what would you show me to get me to kind of see where you're coming from?
Okay, well, I had another channel prior to this. Unfortunately, all my videos that were on there got deleted simply because YouTube removed the account. So whilst I've been trying to dig up a lot of old data, unfortunately, I've already deleted all that. So I've just been trawling through some of the stuff that I still have. I found a piece of a video today where I was able to film whales from Hoylake, which was nearly 30 miles away. So the entire peninsula right down to about 30 meters at least. It should have been close to 350 feet behind the curve. So I mean that's a pretty good starting point. And of course, there's the Blackpool Tower observation. There's the wind farms. There's Barrow, seeing Blackpool Tower from and the Mirrorball from Barrow, which is 20 miles away. Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of evidence around the northwest, around the North Sea, basically.
Okay, then. And so your best piece of evidence that you would bring to the table, I'm assuming, are images or the mathematics that show that something should be hidden but isn't.
Yeah, I mean, like for instance, there's trawling through some videos that I'd pretty much discarded basically because it wasn't as good as evidence as the ones that I uploaded the videos with. However, I was still able to see some wind farms that were 20 miles away. I was able to take a screenshot, superimposed a typical wind farm turbine into that image, and so there was absolutely no curve whatsoever over a 20-mile distance. And these turbines are only 80 meters. The hub of the turbine is only 80 meters, and half of that should have disappeared. Half of it should have disappeared completely, but it was flat, complete flat.
Can we see the pictures of the turbines?
I can show you the video, sure, yeah.
Okay, then by all means, you can screen share whenever you like, and then I can present you to everyone, and we can see the turbines, and you can show me what you've captured.
Yeah, sure. Just let me.
And also, if you can provide us your location, the distance, and the math that you use to determine how much should be hidden by the Earth's curvature.
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue.
Perfect.
Just give me. I did have it already, so you're just going to have to bear with me just a fraction longer.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that, came unprepared.
Who I came unprepared? No, I've been working on it all day. Well, for the last 3 hours basically since I got up.
That's okay. After we go on this piece of evidence, I'll present some of mine and we can discuss it further there.
Yeah, sure. No worries. It was when he came there. That was that one. There we go. Right, I can screen share now. Just.
Yep, please do. And then once you are, I will present you to everyone so everyone can see just your screen.
Okay. Just let me. Windows Media Player. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way because that's up there. So this was a video that I shot at Hoylake at the end of April of this year. So it was quite a while ago. Here we are on the flats. If I just... Basically, there's the lifeboat station in Hoylake. I pan around so that you can see everything. There's the ramp. So basically this ridge here and this ridge here and this ridge here, that's 30 miles away. The highest point on that is 130 meters. Pretty much you should only see the very, very, very top of that. But anyway, I'll show you these wind farms. There we go. There's the wind farms. Right, okay. So there's these wind farms. I shall show you. Hang on. Do you want to, if I display the Hangout, will it be an issue?
Probably, but it's okay. I can fix that temporarily. Just let me know when you're on the screen that you want, so I'll just stop presenting you, white box myself. Okay, now go ahead and switch screens.
Yep, no worries. I shall show you. Where are we? Okay. Right, so yeah, you can present now if you like.
Okay, hang on 1 second, and you are being presented. Okay, sir, it's all you.
So basically, this was some wind farms that were nearer, much nearer, and basically you can see the entirety of the wind farm here. I could play a video that proves that this is the entirety of a wind farm. There's the turbine. There's the blades on it. Okay. So basically, what all I've done is I've just cropped this one out. This turbine that I know is a complete turbine, and I took a screenshot of that video that I just showed you, which is here. This is a screenshot of that video, and this is the turbine that I know is a full turbine. And basically, I've just put it to the same size as these, and as you can see, it's the entirety of the wind farm that we're seeing from 20 miles away.
All right.
So if
question though, do you have a picture of that exact same turbine? And I'm not talking about the ones that are right next to it, even though I'm sure they're the same make and model. Do you have a picture of that exact same turbine, but from much closer to it?
I actually have a video of that. If you want to stop presenting again, just I don't want to display the Hangout at any point.
That's a good idea. Hang on a second. Okay, you're good to go.
Okay, so let me find that video. Oh, no. Must be. Yeah, just bear with me. Oh, there we go. So if you want to present again.
Okay, let's go and present to everyone. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so as you can see, the bottom of the wind turbine, you have this yellow section, and you have a bulge part that comes out here. Mm-hmm. This is at the bottom of the. So you see this little bulge. You can identify where it is on the turbine. Basically, when I zoom out, can you see the blade comes to here?
I don't see where. Okay, there's the blade. Now, that part of the base, that's in the water, correct?
What do you mean?
Is the wind turbine in the water?
Yes, yeah. These ones were 5 miles away. Mm-hmm. This was where I was filming it from. I was at an elevation of 28 feet, I think, or 25 feet or something when I took this particular shot. So I know that I'm seeing the entirety of the wind farm.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and zoom out and show me the whole thing.
Okay, I'm going to try and see if I can find you that now. Bear with me. If I can't find it on this, I have plenty more that I can show, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Do you get an idea of the shape and design of these wind farms?
Yep, I do. Okay. And I do actually want to thank you for these videos. Now, here's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to ask you to pause it at a certain spot.
Okay.
So if you can find.
Sorry, go on. On this video or the other one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, on this video or the original video, the one that I took from Hoy Lake?
This one that you have right here.
Okay, right.
Okay, I need you to scroll it back just a little bit, just a tad, and then hit play, and I'll tell you when to pause. Pause it right there. A little bit back. Okay. Do you see how those windmills kind of have a step pattern to them? Can you
Yep.
please explain that to me?
Well, obviously these ones are further away. What happens is you have this band of air that sits, you know, just above the water, basically. If you look at any kind of image in the distance, you know that the clouds are formed by water evaporating from the seas. Clearly, this is an effect that happens only over bodies of water. So when you get to like 10 miles away, 8 miles away, you start to see waving of the solid object that you're looking at in the background. So I've filmed a boat. I've actually got a video ready to play if you want to see that, of the same effect, where there's a boat and you can see the waviness that's happening on the boat.
So you're talking about the problem with atmospheric haze. So
I am, yeah.
The clarity of the air, atmospheric haze, is causing the step pattern that we're seeing right now, correct?
Well, no. What's happening is this turbine is clearly, let's say, 5 miles away. This one is 8 miles away, and this one is probably 10 miles away. I'm simply guessing this right now, but this is, you know, this is what's happening, and obviously the turbine is shrinking in size. So as it's shrinking in size and getting further away, this nut, this bulge part here, is getting nearer to this band of distortion. And of course, when you get to this part here, it's almost merging into this band of refraction here. Well, whatever it is, this band of air here.
Yeah, it seems to me that okay, so let's go ahead and eliminate, because obviously there's a batch of air that is obviously creating some sort of distortion there. Can you please show me the top of those windmills then? Those same 3 windmills, just show me the top of them.
Well, we don't know whether or not these ones are in line. I know what you're trying to say.
I'm just trying to eliminate the haze on the surface of the water as a factor.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I always try to do that myself with my videos that I do. Unfortunately, this is one of the videos that I had actually eliminated from publishing because it wasn't quite as good as the other ones, but I don't have them anymore.
I see.
But yeah.
So let's see if you can find a shot where it shows just the top of those windmills, not the bottom, just the top.
Okay, well, let me look at the video that I just had up, because there's this one. Let's see.
All those windmills are the same model, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, this is very faint, although it can still drive home the same point. If you can pause it on get me a clearer shot of not only the windmills that are right next to each other, but ones that are a little bit further away. Right there, right there.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm seeing here is we have a windmill that's closer. Can you move that little sharing thing a little up, please?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so what we have here is a windmill that's closer and a windmill that's further away. Can you explain to me why the one that's further away appears to be shorter than the one that's closer?
Sure. Well, let me show you this, which will be the Global Wind Farm database. Okay, so here we were at Hoylake here, and what we are looking at here is these ones. These ones were the nearer ones. That's why they were a bit clearer image. The ones in the background, the one that was behind, are these ones for the Gwenti mix, which is a further, I believe it's around about another 9 miles further away. These ones, Reese Flats, the ones that I showed you here on this image here, these ones are 20 miles away. Yeah. And this one, which was cropped from this image here, was from these wind farms here. Right. So when I'm looking back at this one now, on this video. That wind farm there, that one way in the distance, which is much thinner and smaller, is actually in a direct line would be one of the wind farms here. So we're looking through these wind farms here, this wind farm here.
So
and all that's happening is that it's shrinking in size rather than going behind a curve, because you can still identify on the video, you can still identify, you know, the shape of it is the same as this shape. It's just smaller.
And so when we were going back to the other one, the first image that you saw, all those appeared to be in the same exact wind farm, and they were giving a step pattern. And I'm assuming that translates to the same to the top of the windmill. And so my question is, if we were looking at three of them that were in the same wind farm, considering that they were all the same angular size and you could clearly see the same features on all of them, they weren't that skinny or had that dramatic of a difference, why was there a step pattern to the bottom and to the top?
Well, it's hard to distinguish. I could probably work it through if I had more time. Like I said, I'd looked for these particular videos that I'd shot. I didn't have them. I'd actually identified each individual wind turbine themselves by then using the databases that you can do online. You're asking a question that basically you're asking a question that I'm unprepared for on that particular shot. But the evidence that I'm basically presenting here is that this wind farm here, which is a different wind farm to this wind farm, is the structure of the turbine is identical to this one, even though we know that that one is a further 8 or 9 miles behind this turbine. And we also know that way back here, these turbines here, which are 20 miles away, the hub height is 80 meters. Yeah. Now I showed you on this here that it's identical. You know, I pulled the size down to match up, so we know we're seeing the entirety of the wind turbine. So going back to the video, half of this should be missing beyond the curve at 20 miles from the elevation that I had at that particular time.
Okay, well, to answer your first thing, it's perfectly acceptable to not be prepared for a certain question. What I would like for you to do is, if at all possible, I would like for you to go out and get an image from that exact location of those 3 towers that you had. Obviously, you shot them, so you know where they are. And I would like for you to do me one favor. Record the bottom of those and try to pick a day that gives you the most clarity. I want you to film the bottom, and I want you to film the top of them. Because at the bottom, you do have some hazing going on, and we'll discuss that moment when I go over my pieces of evidence. The hazing is there. But that hazing wouldn't translate very well if you're looking at the top, which is above the haze, in more clearer air, if that makes sense. So if you can provide me that evidence in the future, that would be great. And I would be more than happy to have you on here again so that we can go over it together. Sound like a plan?
That's fine.
All right.
I'd also like to show you this this landmass over here.
Sure. Hang on, but I was thinking we could hopscotch this. So how about I go next and then you show me the landmass, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm sure you have seen a couple videos out there where people are referring to the sun, okay? So here's the thing. On a flat Earth, the sun rotates, or not rotates, but I guess moves over it, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, then. So that would mean...
Well, to be fair, that model isn't entirely... It's without its flaws, let's be honest. I mean, I think they have a basic understanding of it without having a map at all. You know, we don't have a map, and to be fair, it doesn't really work. We know it doesn't work. Well, I know it doesn't work. You know, a lot of flat earthers will say, okay, well, we have the map and that's it, and we're just going to stand by it. But it's wrong. It doesn't work entirely. So I'm not entirely sure how that's going to get addressed or worked out. I believe Antonio's working on something, perhaps, to try and answer the sun phases.
We're all waiting for Antonio to say anything halfway coherent. Yeah, honestly, I've been waiting for Antonio, and believe me, the moment that Antonio comes up with something that is catchy, I'll be all over it like it was made out of chocolate cake. Anyway,
yeah, I'm like you. I have more questions than answers, to be fair.
Well, this is my question then, because it actually doesn't matter about the map. It doesn't matter about its shape. All we know is that it's flat. So let's take that on board for a second. Okay, the Earth is flat. I'm giving it to you on a silver platter. One question though. On a flat Earth, you have to be at a certain spot at a certain time. Other people have to be in different spots at different times because we live all over the Earth, regardless of its shape. The sun does not illuminate all of us at the exact same time. On a flat Earth, however it moves, it would be moving above you, which means at certain points it would be getting closer to you and then receding further away from you as it gets to other parts of the Earth. So my question is, just like a car disappearing in the distance, its angular size shrinks. It gets smaller in your vision. Yeah. My question to you is, on a flat Earth, that should also happen to the sun by a predictable amount. And given the measurements that flat Earths have been giving us, I mean, we've heard 30, 40, 50, 70, 100 miles across. What we should be seeing, if what they're saying is correct, the sun should
change in the size of the sun.
Yeah, we should actually see the sun rise at one angular size, at the very least grow to 4 times bigger midday, and then shrink again to the size it was when it rose. When I do my observation with my Nikon P900 and my solar filter, getting an accurate size of the sun of how it is in the frame, I see that the sun actually does not change in angular size in the frame that I'm shooting at the same zoom, which is maximum optical zoom on this camera. So my question is, how does that work on a flat Earth?
Well, that's an experiment. That is my next experiment to do. Actually, I bought a solar filter yesterday in preparation to do that exact experiment. Unfortunately, the weather's been pretty shit today. It's been completely overcast, so I've not been able to do any of that today. Have you done any of your own photography with that or videos of that?
Absolutely. Allow me to share my screen here, and don't worry, I won't be doxing anything here. So what you see here is, let me present this to everybody. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So what you're seeing here is the sun, and as I go through, now keep in mind these are taken throughout the day. Yes, they jump around.
Black background.
What's that?
How come the background's black? Or did you have to do some alterations on it?
No, this is the result of looking at a sun through a solar filter.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, the solar filter cuts down on 99.99 whatever percent the light that goes through it, and so only the brightest portion is actually going to show through, which is the actual sun itself. Everything around it is going to be black because of how much light it cuts down. This is how we're able to see, like, for example, this spot right here. See that? That's a sunspot.
Okay.
So as I go through this, or like, you know, go back, these are taken. So there's one picture taken every 30 minutes. Now the question is, as I go through this, yes, they jump around and all that stuff, but they don't actually change in angular size. So my question is, if they're the same size in the frame every single time, why do we not see it changing angular size when that's what should happen on a flat Earth?
Well, I agree. That's something that's been plaguing me in the back of my head as to why this is what we should see. I've been looking for videos. I mean, I can present, or I can send you the link and you can present, whichever. I saw a video published by Joseph Green recently. Well, not recently, but I saw the video recently. And I'm thinking, if you only had a solar filter on it, you would let me send you the link and you can present it and tell me what you think of this.
I don't want to share other people's videos just because I've been hit
Right,
with
okay.
copyright before.
Right, okay.
But I will do this much for you. Let me get another clip out here for you, and then I can kind of show you what is, because I can't show other people's videos.
Right.
However, that doesn't mean I can't show mine. So that means I'll go ahead and just present my video instead.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I have the same questions as you. I'm a flat earther, but I'm relatively new to the flat Earth debate. When you're asking about the sun, that's something that's on my next thing to look into, basically. So
right.
you're way ahead of me. You're way ahead of me.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of an individual by the name of Zeteticism.com?
No.
Okay. Then what I'm going to do is this. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit further in. Let me mute the audio on this thing so I can actually hear myself think. So I'm going to screen share now. Hang on a second. There we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and play this for you. So let me actually go back. And so this was the parameters. All pictures will be taken at the same location, which will be my driveway. All pictures will be taken on the same day, obviously. I will take one picture of the sun every 30 minutes from sunrise to sunset. After that, we will compare the images and see if there was any change to its angular size throughout the day. And then I say, with that, let's do this. And so here you can see how it is in the morning. Of course, I had to do it because it's every 30 minutes. So it's blocked by trees, but here's the next picture. You have the observation times right here. So like 7:44 a.m., 8:15 a.m., and so forth and so on. And I go through each picture. So like here's a little bit of cloud haze. So I'm shooting through the clouds a little bit here. And then as it goes through, like for example, there's some cloud haze at 7:32 p.m. There's some power lines and some trees, but you can still make out its size. And then to finish it off, there it is at 8:14, sinking through the horizon or past the trees. And this is the scroll. Notice how all pictures that I have taken of the sun are the exact same angular size. And these pictures were taken every 30 minutes from sunrise to sunset. And as you can see, when we compare the images, we see no change to its angular size throughout the day. What we should be seeing is some change. Whether the sun is 30, 40, 50 miles across or whatever, some angular size shift should have been observed, and there was none. So my question is, regardless what flat Earth map you wish to use, how does this work on any flat Earth map?
Well, it clearly doesn't work with a flat Earth map. If your pictures are accurate, that is. You know, I mean, have you got them on a Google Drive, perhaps?
No, but that can easily be arranged.
Yeah, it'd be useful, because when I do my own observations, I can compare the two. I mean, like I say, I mean, this is a question. This is something that I've only recently thought about, probably the last couple of weeks, about, you know, the sun and what it's doing, because there's been a big hoo-ha about the map that we have, and I tend to agree that the map doesn't work. But like I say, I mean, you're much further down the road on this journey than I am, and you might have ended up on the ball. I'm on the flat, but like I say, my observations show me it's flat where I live.
Okay, well, since we're looking at the angular size, just for this, let me just make sure I understand, because I don't want to misrepresent you. That's the last thing I want to do. Contrary to the popular beliefs of some flat earthers, I'm not out there to misrepresent people. So I just want to know what you said. When it comes to the angular size of the sun problem, there currently is no solution to that on a flat Earth, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm obviously taking you at your word that there's no angular size at all on the images that you took. So I'm obviously, like I said to you, I think at the start of this debate, I tend to only rely on my own evidence, as daft as that sounds. It's not that, it's just that you just can't really trust anybody than yourself. I mean, I don't care who it is. You need your own results to know whether or not what you're seeing is accurate. I mean, I don't know what I don't know what until I actually film it myself, analyze it myself, and come to my own conclusions through that. Okay. Obviously, if those images are correct and the sizes are correct, then that just goes to prove my belief that the map is wrong. How is it wrong? I don't know, because I haven't even looked into how the map should work or what alternatives there could be. There are cleverer people out there that could perhaps do this. At the moment, it's not something I'm intending to look into, but clearly, if those images are correct, then it doesn't work on the map that we now have. So that's the answer.
Well, when we say map, I want to make sure that we're not putting a lot of emphasis on where the continents are, because the supposed travel time problem, whatever. But we're not going to get into that, because I haven't flown all over the world. Haven't even left the United States. But to be clear, we're just talking about the shape of the Earth. Regardless where people are on the flat Earth, regardless how we wish to adjust the land masses to make it all work, we still have the problem of the sun getting closer to some and further away from others, which gives us our night and day cycle. It's the distance to the sun that we are worried about when it comes to relative to each individual person, because each individual person should see a angular size that comports with their certain location relative to the sun. But what we find out is that it doesn't matter if it's at morning, at midday, at sunset. It doesn't matter when you actually take a picture of the sun, which by consequence, that doesn't matter where it is relative to you. The angular size of the sun does not change throughout the day. And so it's almost like saying that a Dodge Charger sitting right next to you is going to appear the exact same size as a Dodge Charger that's 2 miles away. If it doesn't work for that, why would it work for the sun?
It shouldn't. I mean, that just correlates with what I was saying, what I was showing before about the wind turbines. Those turbines were further away. You could just say that the same turbine had just been moved further back. The size, the shape of the turbine is the same, but the size of it is different, and that's what you should experience. That's what you should experience if you're taking it with the same settings on the camera. Then it should show you as a same similar effect, where the sun shrinks and obviously gets larger as it gets nearer to you. Without having used a solar filter myself before,
you're going to have to take my word on this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
no, just on the solar filter, just on the solar filter part. Okay, listen. I understand that. I don't take this personally. Don't take this the wrong way. But I'm serious when I say I don't mean this as an insult. Flat earthers seem to have a lot of trust issues when it comes to what other people present. And so with that in mind, I would say you are more than capable, and you have the right to just want to do this yourself and confirm it for yourself. The key is, though, when you use a solar filter, you also have to do it at maximum zoom, because the exposure changes so that you only see the disk of the sun. And so what you need to do is you need to get a filter from 1000 Oaks or Baader, Baader. And I can even send you an Amazon link if you want, so you know what to look for. That's the filter that I used for, or I used 1000 Oaks to do my angular size of the sun observation, and I used the Baader solar filter to do my International Space Station transit video of the sun. So those are the only two solar filters that I know of. Both of them work, but please use one of the two. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the quality of those filters. And keep in mind, if you do this wrong, you will fuck up your camera. And as a P900
Right, okay.
fan myself, I would hate to see a P900 get damaged, being that I own 2 of them.
Fair enough.
Okay, so use one of those. But I guess I just have one more thing to show you, and then you can show me your piece of evidence, and then we can discuss that further.
Yeah, sure.
I have a video editor that I'm going to share. So please tell me if you can see my screen in a few seconds. Okay, here we go. All right, there. Do you see my screen?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Do you see the boat?
I do.
Okay, perfect. So this is a buoy tender in Tampa Bay. So you can see
Right.
the boat in full. You can see the U.S. Coast Guard and whatever, the yada yada blah blah blah. All that is good shit. But I want to show you one that I took just before this image was taken, and that's this one right here.
Yep.
Now, there's 2 things I want to bring your attention to. You have the hard line, which is this water right here, but you also have a very small refractive line right here.
Yep.
Now, to better illustrate this, I went ahead and put a line on the refractive line, and then I have a line on the hard water line. So it's indicative of these 2 lines. I'm going to let you choose this one. Which one do you want to make the actual horizon? Because it could actually be both in theory.
Well, that's the thing. From my own experience, I wouldn't even say that where you're actually seeing the water is actually the hard horizon. It would probably be a little bit lower than the red, but that's just from what I've seen myself. The effects that's going on, weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like if there was a doubling right here, that we should see that. But as
right, you're looking for the doubling. Sorry, right, okay, sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, see how there's a doubling right here?
Yes, there is. Yeah, I mean the green one. Yes.
Yeah, and also there is no doubling on the water, so I can say with confidence that this hard water line is just that hard water line, and there is no doubling. The horizon can't be any lower than this point right here. Okay. So the question is, if we were to just pick one of these lines, or do you want to pick both of them and see what happens?
To do what?
To make the actual horizon, because some have said that's the hard water line. Some people say that the horizon is this refractive line right here. I can go either way with it, honestly.
Well, I'm not here to lie, and I never have lied, as far as I can recall, anyway. But the green line, I would say it's more likely to be the green line than the red line, which
perfect.
is it's worse for me and my argument, but that's just the way it is. That's what
okay.
we see.
Well, then in that case, I'll do you a favor. We'll make the green line the green. We'll keep the red line on there. But let's go ahead and do this. We all talked about superimposing. Now, what I did was I superimposed the ship to the same angular size, at least in the photo, as we see right here, to see where the water is actually where the ship is. And when we go ahead and do that, we see that you can see the tower is the exact same height. The windows are the exact same. The buoy tender arms are the exact same height between both images. But as we can see, these lines do not actually touch the water. So it would seem like, since this red line was touching the water before, and this green line was, a refractive line or whatever the case may be, that it would seem that the boat was being blocked by the water itself. It was being blocked by a hump of water between myself and the boat itself. So my question is, why did I see this phenomenon?
Well, it's possible that there was an issue with the tide coming in. That's one explanation. I have the same thing, actually, ready to go from my end, actually, of an observation I did of a boat that was 9.5 miles away. I uploaded a video recently about it, but I actually superimposed the same as you have, the same image, which shows that you see the entirety of the boat, basically. So it's kind of like sometimes that you can see it, sometimes you can't. How far away do you know the boat was on your image?
On my images, okay. Well,
Yeah.
it actually depends. At this particular one, I would say it would no more than a mile or 2 miles away from me, or something like that. At the other image, let me go ahead and get rid of this one. It was a lot further away. I'd be lying if I tell you I knew the exact distance, but it was a lot further away. This was at maximum zoom, so that should tell you or give you some idea. This image was not at all at maximum zoom, of course.
Yeah.
So as you can see here, between these two images, when you superimpose them, it does seem that the water appears to be blocking it. And I would say I can also eliminate the tides as a factor because this was in Tampa Bay and these pictures were not taken that far apart, maybe at most, 25 minutes apart. I mean, this ship was hauling, it was going out to sea, and I was in Tampa Bay, and there's only one way you can go.
Right.
So
yeah,
unless we want to say that that a tide rushing in with a scale of 20 minutes when in reality it takes half a day doesn't seem to make any sense to me. That would not be a reasonable explanation to accept.
Okay. Well, can I present some evidence that I can identify where the boat was, how far away it was, and what my viewer height was, so we can.
Sure. Let me go ahead and do this. We'll leave my observation to kind of stew there for a while. But I guess just before we move on, I just want to say, do you at the very least think my images are legitimate? Like that was an actual picture that I actually took, or do you think that they
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've spent hours and probably days and hours filming in and around the North Coast. So the North Sea. So I know exactly what you've showed me there is correct. It's just that, can I explain it? No, but I can show you a similar thing from much greater distance.
No, it's okay. Listen, if you don't have an explanation for the sun or my observation, that's perfectly fine. Intellectual honesty is the best quality a person can have, so I'm not going to fault you for that. With that, I am going to present you. Actually, before I do, please make sure that the link isn't being shown, because that would be really, really fucking bad.
Well, don't present me just yet. Then let me start my screen.
Google has the supposed feature that allows people to snipe, and I don't want that right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that either. Right, okay, so I'm presenting now, if you want to.
Okay, hang on 1 second. I'm presenting you to everyone now. Okay, sir, go ahead. It's all you.
Okay, so let me just mute that because it's going to drive me nuts otherwise. Okay, so here I am at the beach. Okay, here's my tripod. There's the tide coming in. I'm going to skip through a little bit.
Hang on. This is just a random thought here. You have the exact same tripod that I bring with me to rocket launches. That's just something I want to throw out there. Anyway, continue.
Okay. Right. Okay. So here we have the Isle of Man ferry. So it's traveling from the Isle of Man and it's going to Fleetwood. So here we have the wind farms in the background. And I'll just show you this. Where are we? Was it this? Oh yeah. So here we go. On this image here, if I scroll in a little bit, I can show you. This was the exact route that ferry took that day. Okay, so it left here, came around here, skirted around the wind farms, and ended up in Heysham here. I knew that my filming location was here, so I was able to triangulate the distance where it intersected the wind farms, and it was 9.5 miles away. So I know for a fact that boat, when I took this video, the ferry was 9.5 miles away. You saw how close I was to the water, which was way back here, probably about 3 feet, I would say. Would you agree?
Yeah, I can go with that.
Yeah. Okay. So when we zoom into the ferry, obviously we've got the wind farms in the background, but pretty much that's what we're capturing of the ferry. So I managed to get an image of the ferry itself a bit nearer, which was, I think it was this image here. So that was when it was a bit nearer. Okay, so there's the entire, you can see how it's cresting the waves. So we know that that's how it was sitting when I was taking that footage.
Okay, you go back to the video that you had.
Well, I've got a little bit better here because here's a still shot of the ferry as it was at 9.5 miles away. Here's the ferry when it got a bit nearer, and I was able to see it breaking the waves, so I knew that this is where it was. And if you look at the two boats, you know, and then you've got this band of refraction that goes through here. Can you see how this boat is doubling back on itself? Can you see how the reflection is coming back on itself?
Yeah, the same thing that I had in my observation.
Yeah. So we're obviously seeing the same thing here. But as you said with your image, the lower red line would be the hard horizon. Okay. Now, if you look at these two boats and the similarities with everything, you know that you're seeing the entirety of the boat. Now, there should have been 40 feet of hidden at this distance, 9.5 miles, 3 feet. That would take it up to about here. All this should have been hidden just beneath these windows.
Can I ask a question, though?
Of course you can, yeah.
Why can't I see the bottom part of it, the part that's not white?
Oh, the blue?
Yes, the blue or the black or whatever. I'm sorry, your color's coming off really wonky, so it looks blue or black or whatever.
Well, there was an issue on this day. If you look over at this boat here, the middle part of it's missing. Okay. So, and it's also whitewashed the boat. You know, I mean, you can see that the blue and the red circle here on that, you can't really pick out the color on it here. And with what was going on at the surface, at the waters, you know, all this being bleached out here, and I'm going to just say that whatever was going on this day, just above the hard horizon, the water just bleached out this blue part of the boat.
All right, so the atmosphere bleached it, correct?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, that's all right. Then we'll go ahead and leave it at that, because
Well,
I have a similar observation that I made when it comes to colors of the hull. It's actually remarkable how similar our observations are. Yeah, I genuinely mean that, because it's almost spooky how they're pretty much exactly the same. So
okay.
what I'm going to do is,
but before we finish on this observation here, though, you saw the video. You saw where I saw these boats at the trajectory of the ferry. I triangulated it 9.5 miles away, 3 feet. Basically, where this window is here, all of that should be hidden behind the curve. If we live on a ball the size that they tell us that we live on, there's nothing hidden with the observation. The boat itself, you know, the entirety of this video was to show you where I was, and to show you that I'd done my research basically by getting the ferry data on that day. So I was able to triangulate it to 9.5 miles.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. Let me go ahead and bring this up, though, because I want to show you something. Now, these images that I'm going to show are a little bit hazy. I'm going to go ahead and just accept that criticism right here. But it's not the haze that really matters here, because it's the clarity of what's shown. Because your images kind of point to something that I also wanted to point to. So let me know if you can see my screen.
I can, yeah.
All right, perfect. Now, I don't want you to pay attention to this boat right here. Just ignore it. This boat is a lot closer to me. What I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to this structure right here. This is actually a tanker ship. And all this right here is the hull of the boat. Yep. Now you can see it's either black or really dark blue, and you can kind of see the logo right here, kind of like the logos that were on your boat, only it's not a tanker. All right.
Okay.
So now what I did was I'm like, okay, I wonder if there's any part of this that I am missing. So what I did was I drove across the bay. We have this thing in Florida called the Skyway Bridge that connects two sides of Tampa Bay together. So as I go through this, I drove around, and this is what I see when I got to the other side. I'm like, hang on, wait a minute. I only saw the blue portion of this ship. I did not see the red. Similarly, we only saw the white portion of your ship. We did not see the black or the blue towards the waterline.
Yep.
So this was a very weird observation here. And by the way, for those of you who are wondering, that is the place where they actually offload this damn thing. And there is the ship right there. And that is the Skyway Bridge that I drove across to actually get these images. But as you can see, the images are they're not the same colors. So I guess the question I was getting is, why am I not seeing the red portion of the hull? Just like with yours, why am I not seeing the darker portion of the hull and only the white? Now, I know we said that the atmosphere is bleaching it, but since the logo is at the same distance as the hull, being that it's attached to the same object, it too should also be bleached if that is to be accepted. So the question still remains, why are we not seeing that color on the hull right there if it was in full view?
The logo on your image or the logo on mine?
Both, actually.
All right, can you show me again on yours, because we don't actually get the logo on mine until it becomes much clearer, until it comes a lot nearer.
Sure thing. I can go ahead and show you this. All right, so here you can see the ship in question.
I can, yeah.
This is the same ship. As you can see, it's at port, so you can see that's docked.
Yeah.
This is a shade of red right here. I know it's very faint, but you can see it.
Okay.
And here is a band of red right here and here.
Yep.
And you can see the blue, or the dark blue, the navy blue that they're using here, is the same color that they have on the hull itself.
Okay.
Okay, so obviously the atmosphere isn't bleaching anything into a different color, because otherwise it would also do the same for the red right here. But as we drive to the other side of the bay, we see that the entire bottom of the ship is red.
Yeah.
The same color as is right here. Again, this color has not changed, but this color has. It would appear to me that the water itself was blocking my view from being able to see this to begin with. That's the only thing I can come up with, being that the colors seem to comport with this observation.
Yeah, I think what happens is, as I explained to you before, the clouds are formed by the evaporation of water at sea, you know. So you have all that moisture that's being sucked up into the clouds. Now, when you're looking, especially at observations, I'm sure you get pretty low to your observations like I do. You're looking across 9.5 miles or 10 miles of evaporating water. Now, if you're quite close to it, there isn't a huge buildup of evaporating water. As you get to 5 miles, 6 miles, 8 miles, you know, this is when it starts to become an issue. And I think that whatever is happening at the very lowest points of it next to the water is having an effect about what we can see in the distance. I see it all the time, and I try to explain it as best I can. We see it all the time. It's just what happens. I've got, you know, that's the only thing I can say. I say it's just bleaching it, but you could say it's just distortion of the boat itself. I don't believe it's going over the curve, but yeah, I mean, clearly, I mean, that image that I showed you before, the boat should have been up to the windows behind the curve, you know.
Okay, well, I can go ahead and just give you that maybe. I don't know your measurements. I would have to do it for myself and see if it does comport with it. But for now, I'm going to say this. I will go ahead and just give that to you, just for the sake of argument, that the measurement, that the actual size that we say the Earth is incorrect, and that your observations demonstrate that. I'll go ahead and give that to you. Now, keep in mind, I'm only giving that to you for the sake of this argument. I will get back to you with actual measurements, and we will determine if it does or doesn't comport with how big the nameless, faceless they say the Earth is. But as of right now, the moisture in the air doesn't really give me anything to chew on when it comes to why that color is not being viewed. So I'm going to say that if that is an explanation, you're going to have to make a video to better explain how that actually works in reality. until then, I can only fall back on what gives me the least amount of assumptions, which is that the Earth has a curve to it. And that curvature is why that particular portion of the boat was being blocked. And before I continue, I do want to say, Oscar, shout out to your dad for turning 70 today. Happy birthday from Red's Rhetoric. So, anyway, with that though, being that it is an hour and I also have to leave, I'm going to go ahead and just bring up one more piece of evidence if I can, and then you can do the same for yourself. Is that okay?
Okay. Well, can I present first? Would that be all right?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. By all means, go ahead.
Okay. Let me just get ready.
Just let me know when you're off the Hangout window.
Okay, I'm off the Hangout window now, so you can share if you like.
Thank you. All right, hang on 1 second. Present to everybody.
Okay, so I'm just showing you Metabunk here, and we're going to be using the distance in miles, which was 28.7. The viewer height was 10 feet. I'll get to that if you really want me to explain how I got to 10 feet. But basically, if we use with standard refraction, which is obviously worse for me, we're looking at 343 feet of refracted hidden. Okay. This is the distances that I'm going to be working on for this video here. Now, this landmass that I'm going to be zooming into is 28.7 miles away from where I was filming. So let me just play the video and zoom in a bit. So here we can see this landmass. Okay. 28.7 miles away. Now, the highest part of that is, I believe, let me just double check because I've got it on here. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But basically, this is what you see from Google Earth. Okay. So this is showing that exact same landmass. I've taken screenshots of this and done the images too, so I can present that too. I'll just do that now, actually, just to show you that it's the same. Bear with me. There we go. Okay, so this is a screenshot that I took of the video, this part here, and this is Google Earth. And as you can see, the terrain matches up, you know, pretty damn close, if not identical. Would you agree that this pretty much matches this?
Yeah, I can go with that.
Okay. It's also on the video where the wind farms are. So I was able to, I can show you where they are too, actually.
Can you post a link to that video, or is it not uploaded yet?
It's not uploaded yet. I mean, like I said, this was a video that I just hadn't even considered doing because I had better stuff to do that I could have done. Unfortunately, I lost all that. But basically, I was filming from Hoylake here, zoomed over to these wind farms here, and this is the Great Ormes Head. This is the Great Ormes Head here, which you can see on the Google Pro. So that's Great Ormes Head there. So we know that this is what I'm actually seeing from 28.7 miles away. Let me scroll in here. So the top of this here, looking at 120 meters. So what's that in feet? Let's say 400 feet. But we know that 353 feet of this should be beyond the curve at 28.7 miles and 10 feet in viewer height. But yet we saw this entire landmass here. We saw this little area here. There was a gap, just as it should be seen on Google Earth. And then we saw this here. So I haven't had time to completely go through all of this. All I know is that the end parts of like where it slopes down here and it starts to come down. If I just put the cursor, I don't know, here, we're looking at 60 meters there. So that's about 200 feet. Now, 353 feet, should be beyond the curve. I'll go and play you the video again, just so that you can see, as I'm zooming in, this is the landmass. There was the wind farms. And at the start of the video, I do a panoramic, don't I, to show you where I was, which is here, just to the side of the lifeboat station. So on Google Earth Pro, when I go back and show you the elevation from where I took the image, the video, which was here. And as you can see, the elevation is 4 meters. But the tide height on that day was, at this particular time, was 0.9 meters. So we take that off the elevation that Google Earth shows you. So that was 3.1 meters in elevation at that particular time when I took the image. And there we go, 27 points. So if we go to the properties on that, properties, measurements, 28.6, my mistake, a little bit out, 28.6 miles off. So that landmass over here. So yeah, this is something that I just found today. It's one of the old videos that just happened to, I still have, and it was something that I haven't published because I didn't think it was worth publishing, to be fair. But looking back on it, it was a great observation to be,
Okay.
Especially the wind farms. The wind farms are pretty good. Capturing them from 20 miles away and seeing the entirety of those wind farms, these ones here.
Well, the first thing that we would have to do is and not to dog you down, an observation would have to be made. So here's what I would like for you to do, because I do have some questions, but I think all of my questions can be answered if you were to make another video. So I would like for you to go back out and do this observation again, and hopefully on a clear day. I would like for you to name the date and time that you did your observation. That way we're able to, take the tides into account, because I don't know where the tides were in this, and I would like to find out. And also, if you can give me a shout out, that would be great. And,
yeah, sure.
And then after that, we will go over this again. We'll actually have another hangout. I'm actually looking for a part 2. I guess I should ask you that right now. Would you be up for a part 2?
Yeah, I'll be up for a part 2. It's not been too bad. You've gone on easy on me.
Perfect.
The thing is, like I was just going to say on this video here, I do know the time and the date that this was taken. This was April the 29th of this year. And the time that this video was actually shot was 1955. So 7:55 p.m.
Mm-hmm. If you could, the way I was going to tell you to do is there's like show your phone or something that it usually has the date and time on it. That way we're able to verify everything.
Okay.
And then after that, just do your observation. Says, hey, this is Ranty, or however you want to introduce yourself. Here's the time that I'm doing this, so you guys can verify this for yourself. This is evidence against a curvature. Please look into this, and then we'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, just going back to.
Then one last thing, if I may, though.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna put this as evidence for anything. I just want to know your opinion on it. So I'm going to just load something into my editor real quick. So bear with me for just a quick moment while I get this on my editor. And I just want you to tell me what the hell this thing is. All right, so I am going to be sharing my editor in a few seconds. You tell me when you can actually see it. All right, can you see my editor?
I am waiting for it to pop up. Oh, right, okay, got you.
You got it?
I have, yeah.
All right, cool. So you're obviously seeing the boat now, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. This is the moon. I filmed this with the Nikon P900.
Yep.
My question is, what the hell did I just capture with the moon? And what I'll do is I will, in fact, let me do you a solid here and delete this track We'll delete this track because we don't need the audio. We will delete that track, and we will delete that track, and let's make this as big as we possibly can so we can actually see what the hell we're looking at here. What is this object that I just captured?
All right, I know what you're going to say. It looks to me like it's the ISS.
Yeah, so if we, well, I'm not saying it is the ISS, but let me just do you a solid here again, and let me zoom in on it if we can. All right, so this object right here.
Yeah, I've actually seen this video.
Yeah, so my question is, again, I'm not saying that this is evidence for anything. Let me actually go back a frame. So can you see that?
Can't see anything.
It's black now. Yeah,
black screen, yeah.
Sometimes Google messes up on me. Hang on 1 second. Let me try to redo the screen here. Let me stop presenting you. Let me stop the presentation on my end. Let me go back to the application window. Let's go back to here. All right, and let's go back to the Vegas. All right, there we go. Now let's see if this works.
Black screen again.
Yeah, I know. No, it's going to be a black screen until I start playing with it. So let's go ahead and try this one more time. All right, so actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to X out of that, stop the screen share. All right, there we go, much better. All right, now let's try this one more time. Sorry, my computer sometimes likes to fuck up on me. And it's definitely doing that right now. So let me X out of that. Let's go back to here. And let's screen share the application. All right, let's full screen this. All right, you see the moon?
Yep.
Okay, so basically, as I play this through, let me turn down the audio here. You can see that there's a space station that goes by there. So I guess my question is, the P900 is a fantastic camera, but what the hell is that thing?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, I didn't shoot it, so I don't know, but it does look like the ISS from the images that I've seen of what the ISS should look like.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that whatever object it is could well be that. It might be something that's a lot smaller. Who knows? I've no idea.
All right, that's fair.
You know.
All right. With that, then, I'm really going to have to go. I will go ahead and make another hangout where everyone can be invited, maybe in an hour or two. Although, so what I'm going to do is this, to show you that I'm not a colossal douchebag. I'm going to give you the final word, and we're going to end on that. So, by all means, say what you got to say.
Okay. Right. How long have I got?
I'll give you 30 seconds.
30 seconds? Is that all? Right. Okay. So I can't present one more image then.
Yeah, I really have to go, actually. I'm already past my time. I was supposed to leave at 12, and it's already 12:15.
Okay, well, the next time, if I'm invited back on, I'm going to show you an image where from 20 miles away, you see down to 14 feet.
All right, sounds like a plan. All right, guys.
Okay, and the viewer height will be 2 feet as well.
All right, sounds like a plan. All right, Ranty, so thank you very much for coming out, and I will talk to you later, okay?
No worries.
All right, peace out.
Peace out.
And so... All right, guys, with that, I am going to go ahead and say see you later. I'll probably open up a hangout in an hour. Depends how quickly I get done with these errands I have to run. but I will open up a Hangout later. But with that, this Hangout will be re-uploaded on the Redshift channel, so you guys can see it there. I'm going to go ahead and say peace out and talk to you later.